Well, shit. Hello there, everybody. It's a new day. Today is Thursday, January 21st, 2021. I'm Trey Crowder. That's Mark Agee. The president is Joseph Biden. Mark, how you feeling?
Uh, Great, man. I enjoyed yesterday. I did you I felt a little corny for a little while, and I let myself feel that way. Did you? Were you corny at all?
Well, what do you mean? What'd you do that was corny?
Man, Garth said to sing along, and I didn't at first. I thought it was ridiculous. Then I was fucking singing, man. I was singing "Amazing Grace" with Garth Brooks, and I guess probably a couple other million people. It was nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Matt found this meme, which true to
Yeah,
his roots.
true to his roots, Garth Brooks showed up in boots to a black tie affair. Yeah, he did. Garth keeping it real up there yesterday. I will answer your question about being corny, but first I want to ask, like, Garth, what do you think like, people are going to lash out at Garth over this, right? Like, this is
Yeah,
a good, like, even though, Garth has done stuff like this in the past, but there's plenty of people on Garth's Facebook page canceling him. Garth's getting canceled by a lot of Garth fans
yeah.
over here, but dude, they can't cancel Garth. Garth is in their hearts. There's nothing they can do about it. They're still going to
Even
go
if they
with
cancel
Garth.
Garth, even if they cancel Garth, we still got Chris Gaines. So I
Yeah, Chris Gaines is definitely the more liberal seeming of the Garth
yeah,
personalities.
he's got a liberal haircut, most definitely. I will say that, I mean, because Garth's a Republican, and people asked him why he was doing it. He was like, oh, well, it's the time for, Biden's theme is unity, and yeah, I think that's probably why he asked everyone sitting at home to sing together too. It's like it's a time to, like, I mean, like, this stuff's supposed to be corny. It's pomp and circumstance. It's a ritual. It's like you don't have to wear a hat and gown to get a college diploma. It just makes you feel cool to walk to slow motion to, like, an old timey march. So
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think Garth
go
Brooks
with it.
was a perfect choice for this moment just because of this whole attempt Biden's making at unity and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's a savvy choice to have the most commercially successful mainstream country music artist of the past 3 decades or ever
You say all the
be
time.
on
I think, but
stage.
yeah,
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 be on stage during your inauguration and sang a little bit. So I think it was a good move.
yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
my
I
car.
love that.
Go
I
go ahead.
love the people, the quickest to cancel people, the people that think that cancel culture is a huge problem. It's so fucking funny to me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, we're the snowflakes that are overly sensitive, and they're the ones that flip the fuck out over anything that even remotely goes against, you know, their entire worldview at large. But no, yes, if I was corny yesterday, yeah, I kept doing the. What happened to me yesterday is I kept having that thing where, like, do you ever have that thing where you kind of just out of no, you're just going about your life and you remember something that's good. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just like, while you're washing the dishes or something, and you're like, oh shit, the new Batman movie comes out tomorrow night. That's awesome, right? And then you're happy then for a little while, like, that's what kept happening to me all day yesterday. Like, even after having watched the inauguration and everything, still I just go back to my life, and every now and then it would just pop into my head like, oh shit, Donald Trump's not the president anymore. That's
Yeah,
cool. And so that's how it played out for me.
yeah. I mean, like, really, it's like it's about art, like, because it's like the thing about being left wing is, like, we're annoying because we're always fact checking shit about the evils of history, right? Which is why we suck and we don't know fun parties. But, like, so it'd be like you'd be watching, Lady Gaga turn to the flag and go, and the flag was still there during the national anthem, which of course is a reference to the storming of the Capitol on the 6th. But then you remember, like, the Francis Scott Key wrote about the flag still being there during the War of 1812, which is the last time the Capitol got sacked. And you're like, oh, that's a poignant moment. But you're like, oh, Francis Scott Key was a horrible racist, so I started fucking being mad at myself for feeling touched by that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But the line still slaps, though,
yeah,
despite
it's a good
that.
line.
It's a
Just,
good
just,
line.
just don't, just don't. Nobody ever sings the third verse of the song about how slavery rocks. So we get that happen and go with the rest of the song.
All right. So, welcome to the show, everybody. Producer Matt with us as always. This is Evening Skews. Got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about the inauguration. We're going to talk about the efforts Biden took immediately to undo some of the more egregious examples of Trump's dumbassery. And weirdly, not everybody's been thrilled with everything that's happened so far. So we're going to get into some of the backlash too. So that'll be fun. And a lot more to talk about. It's going to be a good time. But first, as always, the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic. Not to do a complete 180 here or anything, but unfortunately, tonight's Daily Dumbass is all of us who have been celebrating this past day and a half, who've been enjoying it a little too much. Why are we dumbasses? Well, because it's already about to come to an end. It's already about to close. And if you don't know what I mean, here's Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene telling you what I mean. Matt, play it.
Articles of impeachment on President Joe Biden. We'll see how this goes.
Well, there you have it, Mark. There you have
man.
it. I know.
It's like
what are we going to do?
Biden got William Henry Harrison. Harrison only got 30 days. Biden's going to get like a 8. So RIP to Joe Biden's political career.
I like how she kind of almost acknowledges herself the idiocy of it at the end of it. Like, I feel like, I'm sure she didn't intend this, but I feel like the way she said, we'll see how this goes, is like that's the way I say it after I try to fix a leak in the sink or something, and I tell Katie to turn the water back on. It's like, yeah, we'll see how this goes. In my head, I'm like, there's no fucking way this is actually going to work, but we'll see.
Yeah. Like she said, we'll see how this goes. Like with the tone you'd say about announcing to your family you're going to marriage counseling after one of you stabbed the other one. Like, she's doing it from the basement too. She's in some sort of brick basement. They won't even let her in the real Capitol because she sucks so hard. This lady is terrible. They got to kick her out of Congress.
She's something else. Yeah. Yes. Senior Georgia correspondent Corey Ryan Forster. This is his congresswoman. This is who represents Corey Forster in Congress. And yeah. She's pretty wild, Mark. She's said a lot of wild shit, hasn't she?
Yeah. They keep digging up new Facebook posts where she said 9/11 was an inside job. I think that's an old when Sandy Hook was staged. This week it came out that she said that basically Nancy Pelosi requests a school shooting anytime she needs one to happen for I'm not sure what, because we never get any gun control. So I'm not sure what the point of the point of this is. It sets the ground to take people's guns, but nobody ever takes anybody's guns. So I'm not sure what the fucking plan is. Just to kill kids. Nancy Pelosi loves killing kids.
Well, on the note of nobody ever taking anybody's guns, we've got an honorable mention for you on the Daily Dumbass, which is anybody who thought that it was possible for Congress people to write laws without being strapped to the gills. That just would be un-American, right?
Yeah, they're still throw that screen grab up there, Matt, if you got it. They're still skipping the metal detector. They're paying $5,000 a pop to go around the metal detector and just set it off and keep going. And this one was funny. A bunch of them have been fighting this battle, but this one dude, Andy Harris from Maryland, had a gun on him, tried to pass it off to an assistant, but his assistant wouldn't take it because he said he doesn't have a license. So he literally tried to like do the thing rappers do. They try to get your one of the members of your entourage to take your gun.
Fall guy, yeah.
Yeah. You got it's the reason you have a weed guy and a gun guy in your entourage. Just to fucking take the jail time for you. Yeah, so they're doing that. That's their biggest agenda item right now, is making sure they can carry guns into the Capitol, which they all ran away like cowards when it got invaded 2 weeks ago. So I'm not sure what the fuck they're going to do with it.
Yeah. What? Also, the fact that what everybody's saying, they're going to get $5,000. Fine, they're going to get fined $5,000 every time this happens, right? And
I think it's
all
five
know
the
that,
first,
and
yeah,
they keep doing it.
Five the first time and 10 the second.
Right, and yet they keep doing it.
It's coming out of their actual paycheck. Pelosi made it clear she's taking out of their paycheck, so it's not something they can cover with campaign money.
Okay,
so
well, you know what? Actually, because that's what I was about to bring up is like, you can tell, like, look at this, the actual salary of Congress people versus the, willingness to do something like this. But I mean, I guess they're still getting money from somewhere else regardless. But either way, I'm just saying, like, it's clear that, not the common people up there.
I mean,
like, you don't have to worry about a $10,000 fine for bringing your gun into Congress that you're not going to use. You would never use.
I think they make 170, so they can literally only do this 17 times before they're in the negative.
Right.
So it'd be interesting. I mean, some of them are personally wealthy regardless and don't need their salary, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. No, another honorable mention on the Daily Dumbass tonight. Anybody out there who thought that Fauci couldn't roast? He's got bars, everybody. Play it, Matt. Play the clip.
One of the new things in this administration is if you don't know the answer, don't guess. Just say you don't know the answer. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
he did it. He did it to him, Mark.
Fauci's unleashed, baby. He's off the chains. Fauci after dark.
Fauci after dark. That's right.
Oh yeah. Nah, man. It's like this is like. I mean, he feels loose because he can be honest because he's not. He doesn't feel the need to couch everything in a way that keeps him from. I'm not sure Trump ever could have fired him, but Trump could have made his life unpleasant and not taken his advice more than he already didn't take it. So that was the problem there.
Right.
But it's cool because he feels like he can actually be honest with his advice and not get shit on or ignored. And which Matt has another clip that illustrates this.
In fact, you're one of the few holdovers from the previous administration to this current one. What has been your experience with this new team? And in your view, what would have been different in terms of the trajectory of this outbreak from the start had a team like this been in place at the beginning?
Well, I can tell you my impression of what's going on right now. The team, I don't know if I can extrapolate other things, but one of the things that was very clear as recently as about 15 minutes ago, when I was with the president, is that one of the things that we're going to do is to be completely transparent, open, and honest. If things go wrong, not point fingers, but to correct them, and to make everything we do be based on science and evidence. I mean, that was literally a conversation I had 15 minutes ago with the president. And he has said that multiple times.
That you, looking back on your comments over the last 10 or 12 months, would like to now, with that sort of license, to amend or clarify?
No, I mean, I always said everything on the base. That's why I got in trouble sometimes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Imagine that. You're going to base things on actual science and not lie, and also tell us what's actually going on. Because on this note, another thing that came out today is apparently the Biden administration has gotten in there and found out that there is literally no Trump administration plan for the vaccination rollout, or at least that's the way they've represented it. I think Fauci actually says, like, well, no, I mean, we've given vaccinations, but still, they not a lot to work with over there. Seems like it wasn't a high priority for them in the previous administration.
Especially after they lost the election. I mean, they got caught lying last week that they had promised 40 million doses of a vaccine that didn't exist. They said there was a vaccine pile, and there just wasn't. Nobody. They just all went to the beach, I guess, after November 3rd.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, like, especially after they lost. Like, is anybody surprised that there really hasn't been anything else going on in the Trump administration since the election other than attempting to reverse the results of it and also give out some pardons? But yeah, I mean, it's not surprising.
Yeah. They also executed a shit ton of people, and I think
also that.
They killed 15 people in a hurry on the way out the door, and pardoned all their buddies, except for Joe Exotic, which we talked about the other day. Sorry, Joe.
He's pretty upset about it too. Joe Exotic, he tweeted about not getting pardoned. He said it was pretty clear to him that he was too. What did he say? He was too
gay.
No, I know he said too. Yeah. I know he said too gay. We said innocent. That's what it was. I had to look it up. Joe Exotic said I was too innocent and too gay to get a pardon from this organization. So
Joe falls into the category of people that I feel bad for specifically for the amount that no one feels bad for them, because he's guilty of everything except the stupid crime they convicted him of.
You think he's going to try to get his money back on that limo with the roll cage and the bush guard and everything we were talking about the other day? Like, that they didn't get to use that. That's unfortunate for the limo company.
I mean, obviously he had that before, right? Like, he didn't that wasn't a rental.
I don't know, dude. I think it could have been. You think about Oklahoma, that's probably it. There it is. Yeah, see, remember that? Dude, they got that in stock at the Oklahoma stretch limo thing. You don't think Oklahoma kids going to prom in that, Mark? I guarantee you they are.
That's more like, that's a very specific kind of redneck. That's the Ed Hardy kind of redneck who rocks shit like that, right?
Yeah, right. But I mean, they're out there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another Daily Dumbass honorable mention, who I'm sure we've honored before, but I can't remember for sure. And if we haven't, we're long overdue. Senator Ted Cruz. who had this to say. Put up the screen grab, Matt, about the Paris Climate Accords. This is what he said, quote, he tweeted, quote, by rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement, President Biden indicates he's more interested in the views of the citizens of Paris than in the jobs of the citizens of Pittsburgh. This agreement will do little to affect the climate and will harm the livelihoods of Americans. So, Mark, does he know that it's not like about Paris? It's just like he seems to think the Paris climate agreement is actually directly related to Parisians and their opinions on climate and how they think we should operate in this country.
Yeah, I mean, this is like an age-old American joke archetype where like all French people are gay communist cowards. I guess is that how
Right.
like how the French always lose every war, which they did. That's based upon just some bad luck in World War II. French won a lot of wars. Napoleon was a badass. I don't know where people got that. So the funny part to me, Ted Cruz knows better than the Paris Accords were just negotiated at a summit in Paris. The Yalta Conference was not about Yalta, right?
Right.
The Kyoto Treaty was not about Japan. This is the level of stupid. If I show up to a place and like, hey everybody, we got Italian food, and I'm like, no food for non-Italians, then I leave mad and hungry, right? It's like that's not what the fucking word means. You can. Yeah, it's like Ted Cruz isn't that dumb, but he thinks
No,
we
you're
are.
right. No, you're right. Yeah, we're making fun of him, but yes, I agree with you completely. He knows that it's not actually about Paris. It's just that kind of like freedom fries trigger pushing, or trigger pulling that they do. Like it's a thing he thinks will work if he just says like fuck Paris, fuck France. People will be like, hell yeah, they don't hear from me. But yeah, all right. Well, let's get into what actually happened yesterday and what's happened since. Joseph Biden was inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States of America, which actually, Mark, kind of came as a shocker to some people out there. Some people were not ready to deal with this.
Yeah, we got a video clip of this one guy who showed up to watch Joe Biden get executed and was shocked that didn't happen.
Yeah, you can play it whenever, Matt. And it's kind of long in parts, but me and Mark are gonna give a little commentary along the way, or attempt to. But yeah, this is the guy they found. Do we not have it, Matt? We don't have the. Sorry about it. Here we go.
Feel when Biden is inaugurated at noon today?
You're going to ask me that. I don't believe this sounds so crazy, and I recognize how crazy this sounds, but I don't believe Joe Biden is going to be sworn in as president today.
We met Trump supporter William Wheating here in Washington.
Him acknowledging that, Mark, is wild.
Yeah. He says he's not a QAnon believer, but he does.
I know this sounds insane, but I'm not. But here's an insane
the
thing I
martial law
believe.
thing is the sort of basis conspiracy theory, no?
Well, everybody wants to tag facts as conspiracy theory, so it's just a way of discounting facts.
But if he doesn't declare martial law, would that prove to you that it's by this time tomorrow that it was a conspiracy theory?
No, if he doesn't declare martial law, then I will feel like my vote no longer counts in the United States, and that's not a good thing. Joe Biden was just sworn in 15 minutes ago.
So I met you right here.
In the dark last night.
Last night, it was about 3 a.m. You were out here streaming live on YouTube. Do you feel like you've been duped, that you've been tricked, that you've been fooled in some way here?
Actually, no. The way I felt was when I saw, I was waiting up until a minute that he said, "I, Joe Biden." Like when I'm watching him walk up, I'm thinking to myself, my life's about to completely change because I've been saying I'm either a conspiracy theorist or I'm a prophet. Kind of like it's kind of Christian humor. I'm not a prophet, but I was just kind of in shock, and I thought I had to reevaluate everything the way my life was going to be now. It's so different than my expectations, and I literally was just kind of walking around like, what now?
Do you think maybe the way you were wrong about Joe Biden being not
all right, you can cut it off now, Matt.
The whole election rigging thing?
No.
Yeah, the next
guy,
thing, we have to see it, but what he's about to say, the reporter goes, well, does this make you think maybe you're also wrong about the election being fake? And he goes, no, that was definitely fraud.
Yeah,
So-
but like this dude was wild to me because like, I don't know, I felt like he displayed a level of some amount of self-awareness, or however you want to put it, that I think is surprising, like to still believe all that shit, like him, all that stuff. Like we said up top, he's like, I know, I recognize how fucking insane what I'm about to say sounds, but, and then says it anyway. And then the thing that he said that was insane, it didn't happen. So it's not like he has any backup for his earlier insane. You know what like if you go up to somebody, you're like, I know how fucking crazy this sounds, but aliens are going to invade Earth in the morning, and I'm the only one that knows. And then they do invade. You're like, see, I told you, but the aliens didn't invade in this instance, Mark. Like what he said he knew sounded insane. It didn't happen. And then even after that, he's still sticking to his guns completely while still saying a lot of that stuff where he was just like, I was just sitting there thinking, oh, wow, my life's about to change because I've been saying all this wild stuff. And that, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This guy, I thought this guy was something else.
You want to feel bad for these people, but again, what they were rooting for and expecting was mass executions without any sort of trial of Democrats. And so it's like, so you're like, okay, they're psychopaths though. They wanted to see blood run in the streets, and they're mad, they're upset they didn't get it, and it kind of fucked with their whole worldview. But this guy's a good example because obviously one big tenet he thought was going to thing he thought would happen didn't happen, but he still held on to the absolute rest of his conspiratorial worldview, right? Also, he's like a together dude who managed to put on shoes and shave himself and have a job where he affords money for Washington and a nice cowboy hat. Like he's not some random loser.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm almost sympathetic for this dude. I don't mean that. I mean like you just said, he just doesn't at all. He doesn't seem like a fucking lunatic. Like if you don't pay attention to some of the actual things he says, you just listen to him talk and the way that he presents his insane theories. Yeah. He just doesn't seem like a fucking basement dwelling conspiratorial maniac. You know what I mean? And I think that's even like scarier, arguably. It's like people that seem otherwise totally sane or normal just buying into this shit. It's wild.
If it wasn't an election year and there weren't political ads on TV, you could sit next to that guy for a whole football game and talk sports at the bar and not have any idea he's a complete fucking lunatic who wants to see you executed.
Exactly. Yes.
And not me, but I'm not famous enough to be in the pedophile cabal. But Trey, you have been on Veronica Mars and Bill Maher several times, so you are probably definitely in it. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, probably. Go. Yeah, I know. They still haven't actually I haven't got my invitation yet to the. It's kind of actually a sore subject since you brought it up. I've been wanting to go. Been trying to get to these pedophile vampire parties and whatnot, and I'm just the phone ain't ringing, Mark. I don't know what it is.
Gotta get a better agent.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about this? Guy's not the only Q adjacent or full on Q believer who was pretty upset by what happened yesterday. Is a lot of that happening. You want to talk about that some?
Yeah, there were a bunch of reporters watching what was happening, Q chat, the Telegram channels and Discord channels and web discussion forums and stuff. And people because this is the last moment where Trump could have saved the day, right? So people either fell into a couple of camps. It was like, this is still part of the plan. Some people thought Biden must be involved in Q2, like he's on Trump's side the whole time. This is all like kayfabe or like theater. Then there were people being like 10 or 20% of people were like, I lost family over this, and this is all bullshit. And I'll be like, yes, come back to the real world. We need as many of you back as possible. And these people's families probably miss them and start tired of talking about pedophiles over Thanksgiving dinner, who nobody wants to have, really, right?
Right, but do you think they've had a lot of milestones along the way in the Q community of on this day, the Kraken is going to be released or whatever. On this day, some wild shit's going to happen. And every single time, that's never happened. And they've just continued to move the goalpost the whole way. Do you think will this just happen again with them, or at least the majority of them? Or is this such a monumental example of that? You know what I mean? Trump having to leave the White House, a new guy coming in, that it will actually affect the kind of spread of this thing and the number of people buying into it? Or do you think they'll just pivot and keep going?
I think it's one of those things where, like, when you're at a party and the amateur partiers leave at 10, then the party gets wilder because all that's left is the hardcore people, right?
Yeah.
So the people that can be brought to reality are about to leave. So who the people are going to be, the people left are going to be the way more intense kind. And
right. But do you think that happening will take Q down to the level of, like, I don't know, flat Earth and that type of thing? Like, do you know what I mean by that?
I mean, there's multiple members in Congress and shit. Like, they're already the most powerful
Right.
conspiracy movement in American history,
Right.
Outside of maybe the John Birch Society,
Yeah.
and McCarthy, and since McCarthy at least, But so a couple things, like, so we have an analog to this, and that was Pizzagate, right? So in 2015, 2016, Hillary's emails got leaked, Seth Rich got killed, Podesta's emails got hacked. Like, all this shit happened. It led to culmination. Pizzagate culminated with the guy shooting up Comet Pizza in DC, right? We all remember that. He got arrested. Pizzagate, because Trump was elected and Hillary faded into the background, Pizzagate sort of faded and then turned into QAnon about halfway through 2017. So people thought Pizzagate had went away, and it came back bigger and worse than ever.
Yeah.
One thing that happened yesterday is there were leaked transcripts from white supremacist some white supremacist organizations who were making plans to go into QAnon and recruit them out to be a more useful type of conspiracy theorists, to bring them into their fold. So that could be a dangerous. People who were waiting for Trump to save the kids from the pedophile cabal now are being recruited by Nazis to be like, nope, it's us. We got to get guns and go shoot motherfuckers. So that could get worse.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes, but shit, let's talk about Biden himself for a minute and the inauguration, his big speech. How'd you feel about it? Mark, you there?
I can't. I don't have my audio tray. I can't hear you real quick. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, yeah, yes, I can hear you.
I'm going to reload Vic. Sorry.
Okay, do it. You're good.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, everybody. Mark will be right back. I'll talk about the inauguration address for a minute. Shockingly, I was a fan of it. I liked the part where he said, if you disagree with me, take a measure of my heart. And if you still disagree with me, so be it. That's what democracy is supposed to be. I thought that he made a big point, which he's done the whole time, of not making it like literally about himself, which is such a far cry from everything Donald Trump has done over 4 years. Like, that's definitely a concerted effort on his part to be like, this isn't about me. It's about the country. It's about everything else. And I think that was a good move. So, I mean, I thought it was a good speech. You back, Mark? What do you think?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. The only part that made me want to throw a remote at the TV is when he said America has never failed, which I want to be like, okay, man, we're a group of people. I don't need my ass kissed this much. We've definitely made mistakes as a people. Some of them I was alive for, some of them I wasn't, but I specifically remember the Iraq War. I was around for that.
Right.
But in general, like you're talking about, like his call, like his talk about unity, which we'll come back to in a minute, like it doesn't mean Republicans are pretending that it means that we're all going to agree all the time, but it does mean that he's going to try to be a president that protects and helps everybody, which is a real turn, because we live in California where Trump told us to go fuck ourselves when the state was burning down. Right. And we're getting less vaccine doses in the much smaller states because we voted.
Right.
Yeah,
every single thing about Trump's presidency the whole time came down to Donald Trump, the person, individually. Like, if you opposed him as a person, then fuck you, and you're gonna get the book thrown at you or whatever. And if you are a sycophant and suck up to him, then you'll curry his favor, and I don't know what will happen. It didn't seem to matter that much to those people either. Ask all the motherfuckers who did not get a pardon yesterday for storming the Capitol on his behalf. But still, everything was framed in you're either with him or against him, and I think that a huge part of Biden's speech was aimed at doing the opposite of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, small part of me assumes that those people who stormed the Capitol didn't get a pardon specifically because they made Trump look bad. And
because they did it. They did it dumbly and shittily, and they looked like low class and incompetent when they did it. And so that's the only reason he didn't hook them up. But like, of course they did. That's what they are. Like those are your boys. Those are your boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought the speech was like it was pretty. I mean, it was very Joe Biden in the sense that it was like it wasn't super flowery. It was a lot of nuts and bolts about stuff he wanted to do, and it was just simple, like declarative sentences about things government can do that's good, and then let's go to work. Which is like was kind of refreshing to like. Rhetoric is so like overblown. Just say what you're going to do. Your second inaugural can be very flowery and powerful, but like spend the first 4 years helping people, man.
But like I feel like generally speaking, pretty inoffensive to most people. A lot of what Biden had to say, but not everybody. Some people were very offended.
Yeah,
Matt, we play this clip of Karl Rove who had this to say about Biden's racism
whether it's
stuff.
COVID or the economy or racism, why are they talking everything down, do you think?
Well, part of it is to lower expectations. The economy is really bad. COVID's all screwed up. It's all bungled. It's going to be really hard to get these things fixed. And then as people get their vaccinations and the economy begins to rebound as a result of it being opened up, they can say, look at us, didn't we do a great job? The racism thing to me is, I was offended in the speech. I mean, I thought it was a good speech. It wasn't a great speech, but it was a good speech, and it was the right speech for the moment. But there was a point in there where he's...
Yeah,
racism,
the racism stuff offended Karl Rove, Mark.
Do you remember the Michael Jordan documentary when just somebody dares to challenge Michael Jordan and he goes, and I took that personally, and it became like
honestly, somebody dared to just be good in their own way. Like some other dude playing really good basketball for a while, and Michael Jordan's like, so I took that personally.
Yeah. It's like, somebody else has a pool, and I'm like, I took that fucking personally. Like it's like nobody else can have anything good in their life. I got to try to take it from them. Anyway, so Republicans literally did that. Joe Biden says racism is bad and white supremacy is bad, and sir, how dare you insult me and my family? It was a bit of a movement-wide moment of telling on themselves that I thought was fucking
exactly right. Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like it's a classic example of that whole like. If you are offended by that, then there's only one reason for it. You know what I mean? Like if you're offended by him implying that there's a problem with systemic racism, particularly on the right in this country, then that's almost the same as acknowledging that it's true. Or
see, it also like it undercut a big theory of mine, which is like racists don't like to think of themselves as racist. Like almost exclusively, no one thinks them. People have generally accepted that racism is bad, and I'm not that because I'm not bad. I might have individual views that are problematic, but I know not to say them out loud. Right? That's one thing Trump did is give people permission to say their racist shit out loud, which sucked. But like in general, like doing stand up, that like there's groups of people you can always make fun of because no one thinks of themselves as that. You can make fun of racists, usually. Right? You can make fun of boring people because no one thinks of themselves as boring. You can make fun of ugly people because no one thinks of themselves as ugly. And here's an example of them being like, no, if you post a joke on Twitter about ugly people and they're like, as an ugly American, I would like to.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I agree completely.
It's also like whenever you make a joke about white people, you get a bunch of people being like, not all white people. Like, well, the joke's not about you, then it's not about you. Shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Why are you taking it personally if it's not about you? Right? So anyway.
Yeah, all right. But the speech is not the only thing they're mad about. Well, I assume they're mad at this. Joe Biden actually did some stuff yesterday, Mark. With that's weird. On his very first day in office, he actually did stuff, which is, kind of odd, I think, for most Americans. But what I'm talking about specifically is Biden immediately signed a lot of 17 executive orders that were aimed at undoing as much of what Donald Trump had done as possible. Things doing with immigration, COVID, the border wall, the travel ban, racial equity, a lot of things, Mark. But he immediately got in there and tried to, do some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was very simple and cool, and it's like cool. Oh, it's like, oh shit, you can. I mean, Trump was so goddamn lazy. I'm glad he was lazy. I wish he'd spent every day in office playing golf instead of doing destructive shit. But sometimes it's like, oh, Trump, he passed one major bill his entire fucking time in office, and that was the tax cut And then he goofed off and just did executive orders about being mean to brown people. And that's basically his whole presidency. He didn't do jack shit. They fucking up the COVID rollout was just was the most direct lazy thing that got a bunch of people killed.
Right. But again though, and I know this is what you're saying, but like that's arguably a good thing, right? Like like you said, I would prefer that he just played golf the whole time too. Like he was lazy and incompetent and ineffectual by and large, but that's good that he didn't, because anything he would have done would have been terrible. So we should all be glad that, you know, he was as ineffectual as he was.
Yeah, I mean, he got very little done in 4 years, and only cost us $150 million we spent on his golf courses, and whatever the White House budget was for grub hubbing Whoppers and Big Macs. That's all it cost us. So, and 500,000 lives, you know. But it's like God, he sucks, man. I'm so glad. Like, other stuff, but like he's off Twitter and he's gone in a hole in Florida.
Yeah.
And he's just like gone.
It's weird, right? Exactly. I know. And it's like, you know, he'll turn back up somewhere, somehow. He'll figure out a way. It's like, he'll start his own damn network, or he'll just, maybe he's even on Parler already. I don't know. But I know exactly what you mean, because of him being like kind of across the board deplatformed basically after the insurrection. And now that he's out of the White House and everything, yeah, like you said, he's just gone. Basically, like it's weird not having these crazy, aggressive, and poorly spelled and grammatically executed Trump tweets out there riling people up over all of this shit. I know they're getting riled either way, but it's wild.
Look, we're going to make fun of Biden for being old, because we're going to make fun of Biden. That's what we're going to do. But like it is kind of, there's a bunch of good things about him being old. One, he doesn't know what the fuck Twitter is or care about it. That's awesome. He's not going to be mad about whatever. He's on the record thinking Facebook sucks because of what it does to democracy, but I don't think he hangs out on there. Like he hates Zuckerberg, which is one thing I love about the dude. Another thing that's good about him being old, and this one thing I really liked, is like he's not planning for a post-presidential job. This is the last job he's ever going to have. Like whether or not they were consciously doing stuff to set themselves up financially after they were out of office, both like Clinton, Bush, and Obama were all fairly young guys, and Obama and Clinton didn't come from money. So Clinton was dead broke when he left the White House. So like they did a bunch of stuff to like get Obama got a Netflix deal. I want a Netflix deal. You know, so I think it's good. Like Biden hung out, like, I don't know if you saw the presidential portraits they hung in the Oval, but he chose FDR, Lincoln. These are big, you know, presidents who were confronted with like existential threats to America and had to take big steps to save it. And I'm like, okay, this is good if you're thinking of yourself this way and not worried about what Wall Street's going to think about you in 2026, you know? So, yeah.
Yes, I agree completely. It's hard. And I think that's also all these executive orders, him signing so quickly, is, you know, had to do with the challenge that we all know that he's facing too. Because that's the thing. Like, yes, we're all happy and feeling generally positive right now, but my God, the job ahead of this administration is daunting to think about. But I'm certainly, you know, much more confident in this version as opposed to a continuation of the last 4 years. But quickly, I want to go down some of the things, the executive orders he did. He's had a federal mask mandate, not a national mask mandate, because he probably couldn't do that legally, but requiring mask on any kind of federal property or by federal employees. But he also started the 100 Days Mask Challenge, urging all Americans to wear masks and everything. He bolstered the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, DACA, the Dreamers, the one that would deport children or immigrants who were brought to this country as children. We mentioned earlier with Ted Cruz is re-entering into the Paris Climate Accords. He ended that 1776 commission, Mark, which was basically made by them to, whitewash slavery further. Like, no, wasn't so. We're good. We're heroes, right? That was sort of what that was about.
Yeah. Yeah, and some concrete stuff he did. He extended the federal eviction ban and extended the forbearance on student loan debt, which is going to help a lot of people who are broke right now and can't afford their loans to go into get called in. But there's like some really so there's like those are all big things that are going to help a lot of people, but there was some small stuff that like made me feel even more hopeful. One thing Trump had done was try to burrow in some like some political appointees into civil service jobs that extend like way past his term being over, and the norm is to let those people stay in their jobs. And Biden told them to pack their shit and get the fuck out. A couple of them were some really shitty people. There's the guy he put in charge of the Voice of America, who had tried to turn Voice of America into a pro-Trump, media operation, basically an extension of Newsmax or OAN. He got rid of. They got illegal fired the board. My favorite one. He fired Peter Robb, who was the general counsel for the National Board, and was a big anti-union guy.
Right.
He had basically taken the corporation side. Again, this is the National Labor Review Board. The purpose of the organization is to like make sure corporations aren't fucking their employees, and he looked at it as his job to help corporations fuck their employees.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He helped break strikes. He fought back against McDonald's Fight for 15 campaign. So, I mean, this guy was just a complete piece of shit, and he was supposed to be there for another 4 years. And Biden just broke the norm and told him, "Nah, we like," because usually you maintain norms to like, because you don't want the Republicans to break them too down the road. But to me, it's sort of a statement like, "Man, we got big problems. We got shit we need to do, and I can't worry about what happens down the road because there won't be a down the road if we don't have some of this shit." And like my favorite thing Rob did. The big battle of his term with in this job was his arch enemy was an inflatable rat.
Yeah, Scabby the Rat. I was about to bring this up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so he made it his mission in life to destroy this inflatable rat. Unions will put up outside like of non-union workplaces that are trying to unionize to try to heckle the bosses and to make scabs going into work there feel like shit, right? So it's been court case after court case about this, that Scabby the Rat is protected speech. Anyway, do you have the video of Matt to show him what the rat is? Because I love this rat.
You guys are all Uncle 3 here ready to fight, right? So we're going to fight today, right? Is your union weak? Is your union strong? Let's go! Whose city is this? Who built this city? What do we want? And what do we want of? Hell yeah!
To us, a rat is a piece of shit contractor. There's a bunch of rats around a room. The biggest rat will take all the food and kill everybody else around them to take it. That's what a rat is.
This is such a New York
exploiting
thing.
cockroach.
Like, it's incredible.
Just doing the wrong thing to their workers.
I mean, literally, dude, the name Scabby the Rat. You know, hey, blow up Scabby the Rat. Put him out there. Tell him what we fucking think about him. Yeah, that's what you fucking rats, fucking piece of shit. You non-union contractors. You Scabby the Rat. You're saying it all.
I love an intense American accent because that's somebody who works a real job, outside of us. Yeah. So he went to court arguing that the use of balloon rats was unlawful under Labor Relations Act and not protected because they are being used to menace. I mean, he's saying that rat's being used to menace people. Now the rat does look pretty. I wouldn't want to wake up and see that rat standing over my bed. But you're walking down the street and see a cartoon rat. I don't think you're fucking freaking out about it.
Yeah, because he said the general public, he argued that the general public was unable to avoid the large, intimidating, hostile-looking, inflatable rats for 3 days. And that makes it, unlawfully menacing and intimidating and whatnot.
Is a giant inflatable rat any more scary to like kids walking down the street than like a mall Santa Claus is, or like a Disney Goofy Disneyland is? Like there's things in costumes are scariest anyway. But in his defense, Scabby can be 30. Some of the Scabbies are 30 feet tall, so I'd probably be pretty frightened if I thought it was real. No.
Yeah, right. But I mean, yeah, even if, talking about kids, if it is, because it is a kind of a big freaky looking rat balloon. And so, kids see this big freaky looking rat balloon and ask you what it's about. Well, now you have to explain to them, how working people get fucked over by their corporations, or just say, don't worry about it. But,
Trey, we now have an administration full of people who aren't going to spend their days picking fights with balloon rats. Do you understand how much better this is just because of that? Like,
right.
they can use their working hours to do working shit to help people, which is their fucking job. But anyway, one of the reasons this Biden behaving this way was an encouraging sign to me, that alone the FDR painting, is like norms are really going to fuck any sort of help any sort of American improvement. So like the Senate's was spent all day fighting over the filibuster, and Democrats, to their power, told Republicans to go fuck themselves because they're trying to figure out how to do the power sharing agreement with 50-50 with a 50-50 Senate. And they might cave on one thing, like letting Republicans have equal amount of members, but like McConnell was saying, we should get some of the committee chairmanships unless you agree not to kill the filibuster. And Democrats were like, nah, fuck you. We're going to we got 51 votes. We're going to take the committee membership, chairmanships, and we might still kill the filibuster if you guys are dicks. So that was cool.
Yeah. Listen, we start doing the comments and questions here, mate. Whatever you can pull up. Tell us how you guys are feeling about the first 36 hours or whatever it's been of the Joe Biden presidency, and how you're feeling about the projection for it going forward. Impeachment update, or a brief one at least, because who knows what's going to end up happening with it. McConnell is officially stating that the impeachment should be pushed to, or not the impeachment, but the trial for Donald Trump should be pushed to at least mid-February. And he's saying that that's because, both times need time to build their case or whatever. Do you think this is just like kicking the can further in the hopes that it will like dissipate even more as far as in his mind, or it's just will this actually happen in February?
I mean, I'm betting it won't.
Right.
I mean, I'm already, it should, and because there's a rational case to setting the precedent that you can't try to stay true and then just go retire if it fails.
For sure. Yeah.
But that said, like, I'm one of the most vengeful Trump-hating dudes out there, and I almost don't care anymore. It's like just like it's like the emotional push for it. This is what we were yelling about it a couple weeks ago. Pelosi should have filed articles of impeachment that goddamn night, when people were full of righteous fury and had it clear in their memory what the stakes were, and a bunch of Congress people almost got murdered for doing the right thing.
That's what I think too. Again, just him like kicking the can further, thinking like, if I push this out further, then the enthusiasm for calling for it will fall off. People will just forget, and we can just not have to fool with doing this. In McConnell's mind, I think like it's just another way to hopefully try to get out of having to actually go through the process.
I hope
we'll see.
I hope Schumer realizes that McConnell not wanting to do it is exactly the reason he should do it, because this will divide his caucus. Because if Trump stays this like platformless and powerless, then they could get 17 votes, just because Republicans are fucking sick of him.
Yeah, Aletha Purdue says, I love what Biden's doing. Still worried something will happen. Trump needs to be impeached now. Yes, it is kicking the can. And yeah, I mean, I think Mark and I both agree with you. Yeah, it should happen as soon as possible, and that is what they're attempting to do. But, we'll see what happens. Are you worried about something happening? Aletha says that, and I assume she means some big, further action from the Capitol rioter crowd pulling some other shit, which I thought like today, I thought a lot not today, yesterday, the inauguration day was the day that everyone was super worried about, right? Like after the first Capitol riots, inauguration day was the day that everybody was really terrified of, like, what are they going to do? And, we got through it. So you worried about that going forward?
Nah, I mean, the last president to get shot was Reagan, right? Secret Service seems pretty good at the job, even though they got caught being drunk on duty a bunch during the Obama administration, and let a guy armed with a gun get in an elevator with Obama one time, and they were partying too hard. Those guys, they changed leadership, and anyway, they're really good at. I mean, if Obama didn't get assassinated, part of me thinks it's impossible to do anymore.
No, I know, right, and again, I'm superstitious. Knock on wood, whatever you want to say, but I agree with you completely. We talked about that on a recent episode. I think I listened to it. I think it was Kenya Barris from Blackish, the creator of Blackish. I listened to him on a podcast, and this podcast was recorded years ago. It didn't have anything to do with Biden's inauguration, but he was just talking about how when Obama got inaugurated, how he was genuinely not even terrified, just in his mind, he was like, he's going to get killed. Like, he is 100% going to get assassinated, and he just believed that. And I believe him that he believed that. And I'm with you, after it didn't happen to Obama, not saying it can happen, but yeah, I'm not that worried about it.
I mean, shit, white people went crazy when Obama got elected. Like, it's been, and they've been still going crazy for 12 years now. And and the militia membership surged like 900% or some shit under Obama. Like, they got fired up in the wrong direction, in my opinion.
Robin Watkins Hale says, let us pray Melania's ink dries on those divorce papers. I think I'm down for her divorcing him or whatever, but I don't really care that much. But there was a funny clip of them arriving. I think it was yesterday. I think it was them arriving in Florida on the plane, and they walked down the whatever the hell that's called, the plane stairs, Mark, the plane stairs, like stairs for planes.
Yeah.
They walked down the plane stairs and got to the bottom of it, and he turned to like wave to the crowd and the journalists and stuff, and Melania just said fuck that and just walked off without him, and he kind of turned around and she was gone, and he just had to awkwardly wave by himself. So I mean, yeah, she certainly appears to be very much over it, but
yeah,
whatever.
She doesn't want to live in Florida. I don't know. I mean, I would want to see their divorce. I want them to get divorced so I can see the court filings. I think those would be classic. I want to see what her cause of divorce is. But did you see the clip of Trump yesterday leaving for the last time on Marine One, and he keeps picking up a Marine's hat when the wind blows it off?
No.
I'm gonna send it to Matt so you can get it real quick, because it's pretty classic. This Marine's not allowed to move, and Trump keeps like petting him on the arm and putting the hat back on his head, and keeps blowing off, and he keeps putting it back. And I was like, part of me was like, oh, he's behaving like a human being, trying to help this guy who can't pick up his own hat. That's the nicest thing I've ever seen him do, honestly. And it's his last act as president. I was like, okay, maybe they'll make a statue of this moment. It's the one good one. But yeah.
Sorry, that comment was just up there saying Trump might peel off his 38 percenters and try to make a new thing. I've seen that called the Patriot Party. The Patriot Party. Yes, exactly. That's going to be the official party of Donald Trump's cult. That's what people are saying. I mean, do you think, I don't know, how worried should the GOP establishment be about the Patriot Party and it coming to pass? Because, I mean, if it did and had any kind of numbers even remotely approaching the hardcore Trump base, I mean, it would absolutely fuck Republicans over.
I mean, Bill Clinton won with like 42% of the vote because Ross Perot got 12, right? Or whatever it was, whatever the numbers were, but something like that. So like if Trump can peel off 10% in Texas and Georgia and South Carolina,
right?
It's like the Republicans will never win the presidency again, which they lose the popular vote every time anyway. But that might be the solution to our electoral college problem, is the Patriot Party. So more power to him.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking too. But like, I mean, at the same time, I would love it if he literally just disappeared forever and we never had to hear about him or his, people ever again. But yes, right. I mean, it would be a good thing for the American left in terms of winning elections, I think, if the Patriot Party became an actual thing that actually got votes, because I can't see it just literally taking over the Republican Party. So yeah, split them down the middle or split them in any fraction and make the odds better for our side as far as I'm concerned.
Did you see Drew screen grabbed it and tweeted it out? But the original there's already been a political party in America known as the Patriot Party. They were socialist anti-fascists, which is really funny. But I guess existed back in the early 1900s. But the logo, the Trump party made a logo for the Patriot Party. He's been shopping, like he has put some thought into it. There were 4 potential logos, and the one he picked has a lion on it. You know, Democrats are donkeys and Republicans are elephants. Patriot Party is gonna be a lion, which is fucking badass. You know, so like it's definitely a better animal than an elephant. Or I mean, elephants are pretty cool animals. Donkeys suck.
Yeah, but I'm kind of surprised he didn't just go for an eagle. I mean, I guess it's like I can't get, got to make sure that everybody doesn't confuse this with just actual regular
office.
American patriots or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you take an eagle out of the equation, ask me which animal will he pick to be the logo of his cult party, I would definitely say a lion. I think so. That definitely checks out.
And it's so perfect because like the other animals, they weren't picked as mascots. They were the sort of like slid backwards into those symbols as jokes, right? Where like Democrats got the donkey because they're stubborn asses, right? And the Republicans because they never forget and they hold a grudge. It was like they're like they're self-deprecating, but it's so fascists are so fucking humorless that they're like, no, we want a badass strong predator. It's like that's not the point of this, man. It's not supposed to be that.
This is
obvious.
Yeah, this is tangentially related to that. Do you know, this is a little fun fact thing. Do you know what the Secret Service code names were for the Trump family? Like, no, I don't mean collectively as a family. I mean each one individually. Do you know?
I don't think I knew that. No.
Okay, so the Secret Service had code names for like every president, and there's like a naming convention. It's sort of like hurricanes, like they stick, like the Clintons were all E words. Bill Clinton was Eagle, actually. Hillary was Evergreen. Chelsea was Energy, that type of thing. And of course, they're all, it's not like any of them are ever denigrating or anything. Obviously, they're the president. But in case y'all don't know, here are the code names for Trump and his family. Donald Trump's code name for the Secret Service was Mogul. Melania's was Muse. Donald Trump Jr. Mountaineer. Ivanka Trump Marvel. Eric Trump Marksman. And Jared Kushner Mechanic. And I just appreciate how kind of, I don't know, on the nose a lot of those were. So
yeah, they're pretty. I mean, those are honestly honorifics. Like every one of them probably loves their nickname outside.
Oh no, I know know that's what I'm saying. Like they, yeah, dude, Mogul, Muse, like that's what I'm saying. They're all Mechanic. Yeah, they love that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Mechanic one creeps me out because it sounds like there's that movie Mechanic about a hitman.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well,
have you ever seen a less likely to be a mechanic dude than Jared Kushner?
Jared Kushner. No, I have not. But yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Can't argue with the Secret Service, Mark.
Nope.
I just saw a comment that flew by from a viewer named Melissa Muse. Her actual last name is Muse, and it said Melania Trump was not a muse. She couldn't inspire anybody. I imagine that is probably offensive for a liberal person with the surname of Muse. But anyway, listen, thank y'all for joining us. That's pretty much it for this episode. First episode in the Biden regime. Who the hell knows what's going to happen between now and then, but I think we're all feeling a little bit generally more positive and hopeful than we have in the past. So let's see where we get moving forward. Eh, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah. All
Have
right.
a good one.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday, okay? Say goodbye.